With Mo Ibrahim coming back, what does that mean not only to the team, but to that, or not only to the running back room, but that team?
I think Mo is, I wouldn't say him and several other players are kind of the heartbeat of our team. And you talk about the energy of a football team. He has that. And I think him coming back is going to bring another boost of energy to our football team. Mo has done a phenomenal job of just simply every single day since he's gotten hurt is just changing his best. He hasn't put a timeline when he wanted to get back. He hadn't put a timeline on his training. He just said every day, I just want to get a little bit better than I was the day before.
On the field, in the broadcast booth, Ron Johnson is Minnesota sports. One-of-a-kind opinions, big-name guests, the teams you care about every day. It's the Ron Johnson Show, part of Locked On Sports Minnesota, and it starts now.
Welcome to the Ron Johnson Show, and I'm your host, Ron Johnson. I want to thank those watching us on YouTube for continuing to watch us. Thank you to those that have subscribed on all your iTunes platforms. Make sure you subscribe. We're going to have daily content. But coming up on today's show, we're going to talk Vikings receiver Justin Jefferson. In my opinion, he is one of the top 25, under 25. In my opinion, he's number 3. He's top 3. But what does that mean from a dollar standpoint? We're going to talk about him and Cooper Kupp. Where do they stack up? Is Justin better? Is Cooper better? Is Justin going to be worth 150, 200 million? We'll get into that. Also, we're going to have Kenni Burns on the show later. Gophers coordinator, run game coordinator. He's also up for some awards. But Kenny is going to talk a little bit about Marion Barber as well, what Marion Barber meant to the University of Minnesota. As we jump into this, I'm going to bring my producer in, Sam Ekstrom. Sam, when you look at, and then of course we got the Daily 3 people, but when you look at Justin Jefferson and Cooper Kupp, that's a lot of money for Cooper Kupp. The Vikings have Adam Thielen. They have Justin Jefferson. They have KJ Osborne. They just drafted some guys. They have a Smith Marset from last year, BC Johnson. We don't know what he's going to look like after injury. The draft coming up. I mean, you got to look at free agents. You got Odell Beckham, who might get a one-year deal somewhere. And then when is Odell Beckham going to be a Viking? Can you go Odell Beckham and Justin Jefferson? Can you afford that? Is it time to move him Adam Thielen? Do you not pay Justin Jefferson to make that mistake and let him go somewhere else? We're going to talk about all that in a minute. But first, word from our sponsor.
Rock Auto. Let me tell you about it. The ever-increasing number of makes and models, it's now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. Supply chain shortages all over the place. So why endure standing in line, hoping, crossing your fingers that they're going to have the part you need? It's a cumbersome process. You got to wait behind other people that are going through the same thing. It can be frustrating. Rock Auto saves you time and money. Why choose to spend 30, 50, up to 100% more for the same parts from a chain store or car dealership? You've got Rock Auto, which is a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years with reliably low prices for every customer. They've got brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, and even new carpet. Explore their website today to find an easy solution. Go to rockauto.com right now. See all the parts available for your car or truck. Put Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com.
Well, as we were talking, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp. You got to look at some of the other big contracts. Christian Kirk. I mean, there's some other guys out there that have gotten paid. Both Browns. They wanted to go to other teams. Traded, money, situation. You got Hollywood Brown. You got A.J. Brown. The one thing I'm thinking about when I think about these moves, money, trades, whatever happened, Deebo Samuel wanting to go somewhere else, not happy, 49ers say, yeah, right, you're with us. I looked at the Mike Vrabel video, and I don't know if you've seen that, Sam, but when I thought about this topic of Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, receiver value to a team, and how much a player means to not just a team, a coach, and organization. If you look at the video of the draft room, when Mike Vrabel hears the news of A.J. Brown, we're going to have to trade him. And he's a part of it anyway. But it's still one of those things, even though you're a part of it, the conversation has to be had. The agent's reaching out. You're calling other teams to see who can get the deal done. I don't know if Mike Vrabel was just like, I can't believe we really did that. Or if I wish we could have got more. Or I don't know. Or I didn't like the deal. Whatever it was, Mike Vrabel wasn't happy. And I preface it this way. If you pay A.J. Brown what he wants, you have to sacrifice somewhere else. When you look at a team where Derrick Henry is the focal point, you don't really feel like as a GM, as a brand builder, that A.J. Brown is worth the money that he wants. Vice versa, the Minnesota Vikings, they are a run-first team that we know. We don't know what we don't know. We don't know what tomorrow's offense is going to look like. We don't know what Kevin O'Connell is going to do, and that's why I go there. If Kevin O'Connell is going to give you Rams type of production and Rams type of passing, the name that's going to leave is Dalvin Cook, because now even though he's dynamic, you can't afford to pay a guy you're not giving the ball to 30 to 35 times a game. Like, it just doesn't work that way. You can have Alexander Mattison get it 15 to 20 times. You can have another draft pick. I mean, we know they've gotten guys. You can go out and get a veteran presence. When you look at what the Cardinals did with their running backs and going to get some veterans just to be back there, because it's going to be Kyler Murray's run around throw show and RPO. So when you think about that, if it's Dalvin Cook or Justin Jefferson, I got to go with Justin Jefferson in this offensive system. So my answer to that question is, if I pay, would I want to pay Justin Jefferson? Yes. Would I want to let him walk? No. How much would I pay him? Well, Cooper Kupp is going to get right around $25 million a year, guaranteed. Guaranteed. I got a chance to hear Herm Edwards speak today, and we chatted a little bit after as well. And I love his Denzel Washington came out in hit when he brought up brand and how important it is. And he's like, you know, the NFL is a brand that no matter what you do, like, you can do this, you can do that, like Pepsi, like Coke. Like, I guarantee that this is the product you're going to get. That's what you're getting with Justin Jefferson. I can guarantee the product that you're going to get with Justin Jefferson. I don't know what you're going to get with Dalvin Cook in this offense, because it's not volume. It's not, let's get this guy lathered up and then keep giving the ball. Now, yes, if he's hot, you give the hot hand the ball, but they're going to start off throwing the ball. This is going to be the Kirk Cousins show. This is going to be the Justin Jefferson show. Like, that's what this offense is going to be about. I think. We don't know. Again, this is just speculation. So my answer is, you have to give Justin Jefferson at least 26, 27. Now, Cooper Kupp's deal might have been a little team friendly. If you look at the years, the amount of money, what he probably could have gotten guaranteed, for a longer amount. Cooper Kupp said, he's like, look, I'm not trying to tear the team down. I don't want to, make this an awkward situation. Kind of like TJ Watt walking into the Steelers deal without his agent, saying, man, yep, I'll take that deal. Let's go. I'm ready to play football. His agent wasn't happy because he's like, dude, I could have got you more. I don't need more. I'm good with that. It's guaranteed. Let's go play football. And I think, and I hope that's where Justin Jefferson is going to be, and the kind of guy he's going to be, where whatever they offer him, if it's 20 plus million, he's like, I'm in. I want to be a part of this, because 100 million, 75 million guarantee, that's still a lot of money. You could really hurt an organization by trying to get the best and the most out of it, which I think Aaron Rodgers, 350 million, whatever it just was. I don't think that was a good deal. I don't know if it was 350. It was a lot though, but I don't know if that's a great deal at his age, but that's just me. I don't know. What do you think, Sam?
I would be surprised personally if there's anything team friendly about this Jefferson deal. I just think that he is a market setting talent. Let me read off some of these current contracts. Top annual value in the league right now is Tyreek Hill, $30 million per year. Devontae Adams, 28. DeAndre Hopkins, 27.2. Cooper Kupp, 26.1. And then you've got A.J. Brown. And A.J. Brown is the key here, Ron, because he is the only one of those five who is signing that deal at under age 25. The others signed it at 28, 29. Those were third contracts.
True.
A.J. Brown is signing his contract at about the age that Justin Jefferson will be. Justin Jefferson turns 23 next week. Next year, when he might be lobbying for this contract, he'll be about 24 years old. So A.J. Brown gets $25 million per year. Now let's look at A.J. Brown's stats. A.J. Brown gets 1,000 yards his first year, 1,000 yards his second year, 869 yards last year. Those are good stats, and he's a good player, but he's had injuries, hasn't quite unlocked, what I think his potential is. And that's a run-first team in Tennessee, too. Justin Jefferson's first 2 years, 1,400 yards, 1,600 yards. He's much more productive than A.J. Brown. He's much healthier than A.J. Brown. And A.J. Brown signed $25 million a year. Justin Jefferson is going to, I think, pass Tyreek Hill's number, which is $30 million. I think Jefferson sets the market. That's my take on it. If he has another year, even close to what he's had the previous two.
And you know, and I can see that. I just I just hope is the word I'm going to go with. I hope, and I'm going to not only hope, I'm going to be around Justin Jefferson for the next 2 years. So I'm going to actually throw that bug into his ear during training camp, maybe like when I'm talking to him, like, yo, young fella, you're worth 30 for sure. I give you 30. I give you 32 a year. But is that going to get you an offensive tackle when you need one? Or is that going to get you that offensive guard that you really need? Or that center that might help you? Or that other receiver when Adam Thielen retires maybe in 2 years? There's a lot to that. When you take that amount of money, when you look at Devontae Adams, why he left, there was no money left because of Aaron Rodgers. And so that's kind of the key to this. Like, you have to be, and we don't know what the salary cap is going to look like. Like, we can only speculate with these new TV contracts and what the owners might come up with. But that's the thing. You know, that's the key to this thing is, can he sit back and say 32 or 28? Now, $4 million is a lot. 27, $5 million is a lot. But is it really worth not ever getting back to a playoff game or Super Bowl? And that's an answer only a player can honestly answer to himself. Some players literally don't care. They're like, man, I'm worried about my family. I need my $120 million. Hey, if I don't make the playoffs, I'll make the playoffs. I'm getting paid. And some guys are competitors. We're like, look, like Cooper Kupp, look, I want to run it back. Aaron Donald's coming back. Like, I want to be able to get pieces to this puzzle so we can go back and we can win another Super Bowl. That's why Aaron Donald's coming back. Now, coming back for a lot of freaking money. I love what Herm Edwards said today to me. He was like, man, I was born 30 years too soon. I'm like, I'm with you. Like, I feel that. Like, this is a time right now where it's like, man, like, and just the knowledge you get from social media, the things these players can do, the nutrition that's like at their fingertips. We used to have to hire somebody to do this for you. Now, boom, there's websites that tell you what to eat, the macros, the micros, and all this stuff. There's Built Bar. Built Bar wasn't a thing I could just find on the internet and get one. But hey, that's today. It's not tomorrow. It's not next year. We'll find out Justin Jefferson next year. But coming up, we got Gophers running backs coach, run game coordinator, Kenni Burns, good friend of mine. Love him. He has some good stuff to say about row the boat. You're not going to want to miss because he's going to explain it, but in his way. Because everybody wants to know, like, what is this roll the boat really about? My how, my why. Kenni Burns is going to explain it to you next up on the Ron Johnson Show. But first, we're going to have another word from our sponsors.
BetOnline continues to be the #1 source for all your betting needs and sports info. Just checked out the odds for Game 4 of the NBA Finals. The Celtics are favored by 4, trying to go up 3-1 in that series. I think I like Golden State to bounce back, honestly, at +4. Find all the latest odds, news, sports developments, including this year's basketball playoffs, MLB scores, fights, and NFL futures for next season. They've also got live betting. They've got esports. They've got everything at BetOnline. Head to the website today. Use your mobile device as well. Learn about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts.
You know, as I bring my next guest up, Kenni Burns, running backs coach for the Gophers. Nothing heavier in Gopher football history than running backs, but Gopher football, Big Ten football, you run the ball to win games. You run the ball to sustain and keep the ball on your side, you know, and don't give it back to the defense too quick. Well, this is the guy that gets it done. Kenni Burns, thank you for joining the Ron Johnson Show. Kenni, I want to just jump out there, man. Like, when you look at the Gopher history, from Glenn Mason to Kill, you know, all these other coaches, and now you bring in PJ Fleck, and people really didn't understand roll the boat, but now after a few years, you can tell that the negativity has calmed down because people really understand. Okay, you know what? It's just a way of life. What does roll the boat mean to you?
You know what? That's a great question. And row the boat, I've been with Coach now for several years, and you know, it's a never give up lifestyle, and I love it. And it's one reason why I continue to work for Coach, because I think there's so much positivity that's built inside of it. But not only that, I've been able to see our young men kind of grow through the row the boat culture. And I think that's one of the coolest things that's out there, because it gives them this idea that, you know, things are going to happen in my life, good, bad. are good and hard, and whatever you do, just keep your oar in the water and keep rowing, and the main values of it is when you're rowing a boat, you can't see really the future. All you can do is learn from your past and row in the present. And I think the idea of it is just phenomenal. And, if I've got kids, I want my kids to think that way, that there's nothing out there that they can't get through. When you think of the core values of it, there's three parts to it, right? There's the oar, that's the energy that you bring into your life. But we all want to have positive energy and constantly be positive and affect people in the right way. And then there's the boat, which is the sacrifice and, serving and giving to others, makes your boat bigger and more able to hold more people. And then the last part's the compass, surrounding yourself with elite people. And we all know that people are the what makes things go, having the right people. So for me, it's a great never give up lifestyle. And it's one that I'm going to carry with me for the rest of my life. And, I'm just really, blessed to be a part of it and be a part of what Coach Fleck is doing here.
And I was a part of a team. I'm old now, forget the year, 2000, I think. We had a chance to beat Ohio State at Ohio State, hadn't done it in 49 years. The Gophers were on the precipice. They were right there. You guys are right there, had Ohio State on the ropes, and then Mo Ibrahim goes down with an Achilles injury. A lot of people thought he would leave. And then you see the Michael Jordan, I'm back. With Mo Ibrahim coming back, what does that mean not only to the team, but to that – or not only to the running back room, but that team?
I think Mo he is, I wouldn't say him and several other players are kind of the heartbeat of our team. And you talk about the energy of a football team. He has that. And I think him coming back is going to bring another boost of energy to our football team. Mo has done a phenomenal job of just simply every single day since he's gotten hurt is just changing his best.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't put a timeline when he wanted to get back. He hadn't put a timeline on his training. He just said every day, I just want to get a little bit better than I was the day before. And, that's something that Coach Fleck always preaches, and Mo has kind of took it and ran with it. And now you're starting to see him come back to Mo form. And that's a credit, honestly, to our trainers, Sip and Joe. I think they did a phenomenal job giving him kind of a game plan to get him back, and he's kind of taken and ran with it. The one cool thing I'll say about Mo is last year, a lot of guys could, when they get hurt, they could go and soak a little bit. I think you saw Mo become a heck of a leader, and he helped those young guys get ready to play. He took his role and kind of transformed it and took the lens from a coaching standpoint, and I think that's going to help him in the future when he comes back and he's playing next year.
And when you look at his growth, there's a guy that played behind a lot of good running backs, and he waited his time, where a lot of players don't have that. They want to hit the transfer portal because they're like, look, I can. And he could have been a star somewhere else.
Sure.
But he stuck it out, and it's paying off for him. How have you seen him grow?
I think that he would tell you that some of the biggest credit that he gives is to Rodney Smith and Shannon Brooks. I think when he was a young back, those guys kind of took him under his wings and showed him kind of the way. And I think Mo understood that, there's a lot of good things going on here that are bigger than football. And it's something I want to be a part of, and something I can help change over my time here. And I think that's what makes Mo Mo. Mo has never made it about himself. It's always been about other people, about his team, about his teammates, and doing it for them. So when those opportunities might have presented themselves for him to go somewhere else, I think Mo looked at his team and said, I'm part of this team, and I'm part of this brotherhood that's here, and I'm part of this roll the boat culture, and I just want to give to that. And I think that's what makes Mo very, very special. And I think it's going to help him throughout his whole life, being a team player and being able to lead people. And Coach Fleck always makes a comment that if most, if I'm buying stock, I'm buying stock whatever he's in, and I'm kind of the same way. After Coach Fleck, I'm right there too, buying stock in him, because whatever this young man does, he's going to be successful in it. And it's because of his core values and what he believes in and the people that he surrounds himself with.
Yeah, when I look at interviews and I look at just life, I feel like, having you on the show, Yuki Dozier, it's kind of a God moment for me. And the reason I say that is because I didn't plan to have Yuki Dozier on to talk about Marion Barber. Yuki was already scheduled, and then Marion Barber, we found out he passed away. And so we just went with the energy, kept the stories going. Same with you, like I've talked to Rovanak before about having Fleck on and having you on. And then it's crazy that it's a running back, it could have been any other player that something had happened to, but it's a running back, and it's unfortunate. He's a guy I play with, a friend of mine, love him,
Sure.
Love his family. You guys had Thomas Barber there as well, who's getting married on Marion's birthday, coming up June 10th. So when you think about Marion Barber, his picture's on the wall, his name's in the books. You got Daryl Thompson, Lawrence Maroney, Thomas Hamner, Marion Barber, and then Chris Darkins. I mean, and then again, Marion Barber again. So you got the names of names, on that wall for running backs. Mo Ibrahim, he's going to creep up there, and Rodney Smith. We've seen all the stuff these guys have done. But when you think about Marion Barber passing in your meeting room of running backs and you cultivating these young running backs, what does Marion Barber mean to the Gopher football program?
I think the Barber name is one that is, it's one of the biggest names in the Gopher football program. And, when I look at Marion, I always go back. We played kind of around the same time when I was at Indiana. And I never forget, we were playing, and I think it was 2003. It was him and Maroney, and they were coming to Bloomington. And the other running backs were in the running back room. We're like, the show's coming to town, guys. So just sit back and watch these two guys play. And then being here and being a part of kind of the tradition of running backs here, obviously he had a big part of it. He's one of the top 5 leading rushers of all time. I think he's second in total touchdowns, like 35 or something like that. And his imprint, I think the backs that come in here, he's one of the guys that they look up to. He's a guy that I use all the time. And not only him, but Maroney too, just two guys that kind of sacrifice for each other, and for their team to be to have success and be the best team they could possibly be. And he's a guy that I wasn't able to meet ever, but he's a guy that I constantly talk about his career here and what he did and how he did it, because he ran hard. As you played with him, and everyone you talked to said he was just a phenomenal person. And I think we in the running back room, we talked about a little bit after his passing about just taking advantage of the opportunity that we have here. And, these are some, you never know what's going to happen in the future, but living in the moment, guys, and enjoying each other and the opportunity that you have to be a running back here under, like you said, some of the names, Cobb and Maroney and Barber and Dawkins. Those are some great tailbacks. So for me, I'm just trying to keep the tradition going of great tailbacks, and we're going to make his memory, we're going to make it everlasting by keep getting better backs in here and guys that can live to what he kind of created, that legacy.
Yeah, and the way you guys recruit running backs, man, it's been phenomenal. And you hit the nail on the head. Like, Marion has 35, his dad is 34. So that alone, like, I know as a son, you always want to surpass your dad, and he was able to do it by one. You look at Daryl Thompson, who's way out there with 40 touchdowns. But yeah, I'll never forget Marion. I think like Michigan State. But he ran over a guy. I was blocking, so my back was to the play, but it was the loudest collision I had ever heard. And I look back, and Marion is standing straight up. DB or linebackers on the ground, and I look over and he's just smiling at me like, yeah, I did that. And that was kind of his like coming out day as a freshman, because we didn't know what we got in Marion Barber. We had Tellus Redmond, and then all of a sudden we're like, man, this is going to be a dual back system with Tellus and Marion as a true freshman out of Wyzetta slowly started taking plays from Tellus. But I'll never forget that. Like, I remember that hit and him running the guy over and just smiling at me like, yeah, okay, I'm here. And like after that, like you said, Lawrence came to town, and Marion never, like, the moment was never like, it's all about me. He was always a team guy. He was willing to share. Marion could have had 2,000 yards a season. Yeah. And same as Lawrence. They both could have been 2,000-yard backs, but they were willing to say, you know what, let's just go do something nobody's ever done before. We'll both get 1,100 yards, 1,400 yards here and there. But last question, man, like, thinking about Marion and the stuff, like running backs, I don't know if you can hoop. Running backs to me are some of the worst hoopers I've ever seen.
Come on, man. No.
Running backs and DBs. Like, DBs synonymously are the worst. Like, they are way too aggressive. They think they're playing press man, playing basketball. It's bad. Receivers, quarterbacks, tight ends, like, that's usually your hoopers. Some offensive linemen here there. But I know when we play, we would always have shoot-arounds. I've seen Fleck, playing, some shoot horse stuff with Tyler, and Rashad was a great hooper. If your coaching staff had to go 5 versus 5 right now, wow. I know Brevin Van Spoor can Brevin Span 4 can hoop, Chris Altman-Bell can hoop, but if you guys were to go 5-on-5, I know PJ can hoop. What are your chances of actually staying with those guys?
Okay, let me tell you, first and foremost, I had Division I basketball offers too.
Okay.
I can hoop a little bit, my man. Okay, I can hoop a little bit. But I'm definitely taking the coaches. So here's my 5, okay? If you got to think about this now. PJ Fleck, point guard. All right. Yep. I don't know if you know about Coach Simon, because Simon is like the ultimate athlete.
He's a receiver, yeah.
He can shoot it up there. I'm playing the small.
Okay.
You got Coach Harbaugh, our tight ends coach. He can hoop.
Okay.
I put him at little power forward. And then I can't leave my man Callahan out.
Okay.
And if you ask Coach Caroline, he'll tell you, man, he had offers to play. In 7th grade, he was getting offers to different high schools before his knees, got a little bad. So those are my 5, man. And then I got some support staff guys coming off the bench. I don't know if John Shackle can play little hoops and Marcus Henderson too. So
okay.
I like our chances. I tell you this much. I know Coach Fleck team, and we're gonna out-howl them. We're gonna make sure. I mean, they're gonna have to tear us off the court to play, But yeah, that's funny because the running backs always joke with me because when they come over my house, they'll see some of the basketball stuff that I did in high school, and they say you can't hoop, and they always want to challenge me. So every one of these days, man, I got to get myself in shape. But no, I got the coaches all the way. I might
have to get Children's Hospital into this, man. We might have to get this a charity coaches versus players game. I'll be the announcer. I might have to reach out to Children's Hospital about that one. Like, keep it no contact, no fouling. We don't need guys getting hurt, but good clean basketball. Get some shots up over at the Gopher facility. But last one, I'm like any coach, man. You got 16 110s. Hey, you got 2 more. Get on the line. So I got one more for you because you threw something out there that I wanted to ask you about. You guys have a lot of slogans, but explain the how.
Yeah. The how for us, it's real simple. It's how you do things. And we want to do things with the unconquerable will. We always talk about having this neck time mentality, and a neck time is always attacking. He's never full. So no matter how much success we have, no matter how much we're failing and learning, we want to just keep attacking what we're doing and never ever give up, and attack it like a necktie. And then we talk about this unconquerable will, which how you're doing things. You want to have an unconquerable will when you go about it. And that's kind of been our thing, man. It makes us different. And I truly believe that. And I didn't know anything about the how until I got with Coach Fleck. And the more and more I'm in it, the more and more I understand that it's what makes us different. How our kids do things is just different. And it's not just athletically, it's academically, it's socially, and even spiritually, whatever you're doing, just putting all yourself into it and giving everything you got. And that's our whole thing here. So in the slow terms, it's a necktie mentality, man, and having an unconquerable will, and the people. So
yeah. And I lied. It's one more. So here we go. You were nominated as one of the top minority coaches, but I think just top coach, period. Like I'm sick of those like labels, but you are nominated as one of the top coaches in college football. When you think about that, and of course now your name gets put on a list, other ADs, all those people scour these type of lists to see who's the next who's the Eric Bieniemy, who's the next John Harbaugh, or who's the next guy, who's the next Kevin O'Connell with the Vikings. Now that you're gonna start to get out there, your name's out there, being a head coach, what is your thought process, or what have you taken from PJ and other coaches to say, you know what, I can do it, and this is how this is what I want it to look like?
For me, me and my wife live by something that's really true to us. It is kind of be where your feet are, and I say that, with respect to you, but we live here. We love being here. We love working for Coach Fleck. We love what we're doing here in Minnesota. We believe in what we're doing here in Minnesota. And for me, it's just keeping to learning every single day. And so when that opportunity does come, I'm prepared for it. Yeah. And I do believe that, if it's in God's will, it'll happen one day. And hopefully that when it does happen, that I've taken a lot of things from here and other places I've been and just made myself a better coach so I can take advantage of that opportunity. But it's definitely something that I think every coach has a little bit of a want to in their career. And if I'm blessed to do it, obviously I'm going to take a lot of things I've learned here and implement them in that game plan for sure. But for me, man, I really enjoy our staff. I think Coach Fleck has put a great staff together. Some of my best friends and Brian Callahan, Paul Haynes, Matt, all those guys, So I'm enjoying getting better from them as well as a football coach. And I think we do a great job of bouncing ideas off each other and just growing every single day. It's always an honor to be on a list like that with some superior coaches. But for me, it still comes back to being where your feet are, enjoying your players, and obviously you wouldn't be on any list without them, and really just make them the best they can possibly be every single day. So, and
you know what, last one, I'm gonna give you some brownie points. Like I saw your wife with the new baby at Caribou. I ended up buying her a coffee, not realizing that was even your wife. Like I just saw a baby crying on the ground. I'm like, you know what, let me buy this lady a coffee. How is that, being a dad? Because coaching and being a dad, family. I know I've learned from Tony Dungy, family first. Yeah. How has that been?
It's been awesome. And you go back to where you're at, right? And I work for a man who values family. And that's something that I'm always looking for. And I know our coaches appreciate with Coach Fleck is he values family. So he's allowed me to be a dad and not just be a football coach. And I always use the line that football is what I do. It's not who I am.
Yep.
It's what I do for work, and I enjoy it. I love it, but at the end of the day, I'm a father first, husband first, and I really, in my own way, I'm a follower of Christ,
Yeah.
So that's who I am, and I love it, and like it's why I stay here, and why I know a lot of our coaches stay here is because Coach Fleck allows us to be the best man we could possibly be, and that's part of the roll the boat culture, and I love it, man. So that's cool to me. I just had my son; he's just turned 1, and he's a fireball, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. So.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm enjoying you being here. I'm glad you're here. That'll do it for Kenni Burns on the Ron Johnson Show. Up next, we got the Daily 3. That's 3 questions, 3 minutes. Stay tuned for that.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you having me, man.
For sticking around for the Ron Johnson Show. Up next, we have the Daily 3. And for those that don't know, I wore number 3 in college. Like for those that are new to the Ron Johnson podcast, I wore number 3 in college. 3 is one of my favorite numbers because of Keyshawn Johnson. So me and Sam came up with a game called the Daily 3. Why? Because I'm Ron Johnson 3. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Thanks, Ron. Built Bar is flat out delicious. That's the only way I know how to put it. I love Built granola bars as well. Chocolate peanut butter, chocolate coconut, white chocolate berry. You want to try all 3? Get one of those mixed boxes at Built.com right now. Don't hesitate. They're so different than the bars and puffs. They are loaded with granola. They are low in sugar. They've got protein in them. They're delicious. They're good for you, giving you that boost that you need. And they're made with collagen protein, which your body absorbs more efficiently and provides tons of health benefits. Go to Built.com to get Built granola bars right now. Go to Built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com.
Now, Sam can take it away with the Daily 3.
You got it, Ron. Vikings wrapped up OTAs and mini camp yesterday. Now they will go their separate ways for the next 6-7 weeks. They might be going to Playa del Carmen, going to Puerto Vallarta on their various vacations during the summer. I got to ask you, Ron, how did you spend your time off in the summer when you were in the NFL, and how do you think these guys should be spending their time?
Well, for me, I was dating my wife at the time. She's my girlfriend. So we were dating, but we didn't live in the same state. So I honestly, every time I had off time, she either was coming out to see me or I was coming to see her. She was still in school running track at the University of Minnesota and trying to go to the Olympics. So I would come back to Minnesota. I would work out at the University of Minnesota in the weight room. I would try to find guys to throw with, guys to work out with. I remember like some of the Gophers quarterbacks, Benji Camarith, and some of those young guys, I would hit them up like, "Oh, I need help. Like I need somebody to throw with." And then weight room, I would just go and do it. There were some trainers I actually went and saw every once in a while, but I definitely, this is where I look back and I look at rowing the boat. My back is to the target and I just have to row, as Kenni Burns brought up. But I can see my past. Now, am I going to let my past tear me down and just be a thorn? No, I see it and I know what I need to do going forward. And so I look at the things I did not do, which is get around other, like-minded guys that play my position and work out together, where it's like Larry Fitzgerald did this with Chris Carter, Randy Moss. He would get Brandon Marshall came to town. The who's who of who's who that know, Jerry Rice was here that know Larry Fitzgerald would come to Minnesota for about a week and work out. And I never seeked out that kind of stuff. I never reached out to guys like in Alabama or Florida or wherever that I knew that we got drafted together and worked out together. Like I was cheap. So I was like, I'm not paying for a flight and I got to pay for a hotel. And I'm like, where can I go for cheap? Well, I can go to Detroit because I'm from there. I can go stay home. I can go to Minnesota because my girlfriend lives there. So I don't have to pay to live there. I can stay in Baltimore and just work out with guys around there. And that's what I did. Like I never really took advantage of some of the other things guys do now. And maybe we only see it because of social media. I know Chris Carter, he had been doing that with Randy Moss. I just never took advantage of going down to like the Chris Carter workout deal. Now, again, it cost money. It wasn't free. Like you got to go down there. You're going to pay Chris's trainer. You're going to, pay to, stay down there. But that's what Hall of Famers and great ones do. I did not see it that way. I did not treat it as my job. And I think that's where I made mistakes. So for what I think the Vikings players should do, treat it as a job. Like it's a job. So what do you got to do to get better at? This is not off time. This is preparing for job time. I'm with a company called Game One. And one of their mottos for evolution is on your 0 days. So $0 days, meaning you're not making any money. And this is what this is for the football players, $0 days. So we're gonna start calling the offseason that for football players, $0 days. And on those $0 days, you need to catch up with work, whatever it is. And that's what game one says. So I think that's what players do. These are the days you catch up. You're not getting paid. So when you're catching up, don't do anything that can be detrimental to actually getting paid. Don't do anything crazy. Don't go parasailing. Don't go jumping out of a plane. Don't go try to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. You know, it's okay to take a little vacation, go to the beach, go somewhere. But you're getting ready for training camp. It's a difference to do something in February versus doing something in June, July. February, yeah, go to Disney, go wherever. June, July, you can go to Disney, but you need to plan out every morning to work out. They need to know if your kids you're just taking them on a summer vacation, dad's got to work out. Like I watch Adam Thielen go down to Florida. He has a house in Orlando now. And I see every morning his wife posting something where he's out working out. His ETS guys come down there and they help him out. But that's what I think it needs to look like. These young guys need to get with these veterans like Thielen and Jefferson who go out and do these things. And that's what it should look like.
It's so cool to have a Justin Jefferson on the team because he's one of those gravitational forces that you just want to be around. Like KJ Osborne worked out with Jefferson last year. Jefferson's working out with Jarvis Landry and Stephon Diggs. I mean, big timers. KJ Osborne sees how it's done. And KJ Osborne has a great year. Like that's the kind of player that you want to use as a resource because they are luring these stars in their orbit. And then you get to see as a young player how things are done professionally. So I think that's a really good option for Vikings players to use.
And that's a hats off to the receiver factory, though. The receiver factory puts that together. Former receiver Brandon Williams out of Wisconsin. That's his deal. He's the guy that a lot of guys gravitate to, and they all know they're going to get great guys coming together. So, yeah, I wish we had stuff like that when I played. But we did. It was Chris Carter. Chris Carter had one with Randy Moss, and I didn't take advantage. So I probably wouldn't have took advantage of the receiver factory. But I don't know. If I had Instagram, I probably would because then it looks cool, and I could see all the guys doing this stuff. So maybe that's the difference now.
There's a couple quarterbacks floating out there. We don't know their future. Jimmy Garoppolo is one in San Francisco, and Baker Mayfield is the other. Baker Mayfield was excused from minicamp in Cleveland as they continue to feud about his status. He's requested a trade. The Browns kind of betrayed him a little bit when they signed Deshaun Watson. But with Watson's suspension looming, Ron, what are the chances that Baker Mayfield ends up playing for the Browns this year if Watson is out?
It's a high chance that he plays if Deshaun Watson is out, but this is the biggest problem. Yeah, because it's a business. Look, you can again, I got some great stuff from Herm Edwards today. Another one of the things he said you have to make calculated decisions, not emotional decisions. Because he talked about starting Chad Pennington. He said when he benched Vinny Testaverde and he started Chad Pennington, he said he did it at 90,000 feet. He was on the airplane, told his offensive coordinator to come to the back of the plane. He talked to him. Hey, I'm starting Chad Pennington next week. They were 2-5. He's like, we got to do something. Told Chad Pennington, you're going to be starting quarterback. Chad Pennington's like, what? Wait, what? What happened? Jets end up winning the division, beating Patriots, blah, blah, never went back to the playoffs since 2002. I didn't know that, but Herm pointed that out. So for all the Vikings fans out there, it could be worse. Never went in the division again. Sorry, I think that's what he said. I don't know if it was playoff or division. We'd have to research that one. But 2002, he said that was the last time they either won a division or went to the playoffs. And so, but I might be wrong on one of the two. It might be just winning the division, but they went to the playoffs. Can't remember. But when you look at that, it's a calculated decision. You cannot be emotional. Baker Mayfield gets emotional and lets his emotions get into this. It's a business. They just went out and got the quarterback they thought was better for the team. It's not about emotion. You have to sit there and just deal with it. Figure it out. Now, could the Browns say, hey, if Deshaun Watson's out, I don't see them making a long-term move and going to get a Jimmy Garoppolo because Jimmy Garoppolo, one, they don't know how his shoulder's going to be after surgery or arm or whatever he's had surgery on because he's not throwing, so they put him on ice. Also for the Browns, though, dismissing him is just making sure he doesn't get hurt and doesn't lower his trade value. That's the other part of that. They dismissed him because they're like, look, if you get hurt on us, we're liable for you. If you get hurt on your own, you are liable for you. And that's what the Browns wanted to make sure they made note of. But yeah, don't make it an emotion decision. I could see him playing for them if Deshaun Watson sits out because then you just have one more year of him and then you can move him the next year. So, yeah.
And if you're Baker Mayfield, you should be jumping at the chance to up your value again, because he had a pretty bad 2021. I mean, if he wants to get back to his previous value of 2020, you want to play. You want to show that if you're going to be a free agent, all right, come pay $30 million for me. Come pay $25 million for me. He wants to set himself up. And 17 touchdowns, 13 picks last year isn't really going to make him a hot commodity on the market.
Right.
And NBA Finals, Ron, Celtics take a 2-1 lead, favored by 4. BetOnline in Game 4. What are your latest thoughts now on the NBA Finals?
Yeah, I gotta apologize to the Boston Celtics. Like I thought that this was just gonna run. The Warriors are gonna run away with this. I said it before they even got to this. I thought I did say this would be a more competitive game over the Heat. But I know the Warriors wanted the Heat. I think that's why Draymond Green made that comment, to kind of light a fire into the Heat. No pun intended. But I definitely see now it's going to be hard if the Celtics do this again at home, because they were bad at home, and last night they almost let it go. It almost like, oh wait, here come the Warriors. Nah, never mind, we're good. So can the Warriors overcome that emotion? Because when you have to come back, you waste a lot of energy. You put a lot of emotion into it, but you don't have the emotion to feed off of from the crowd. The Celtics did, and so they're going to get one more chance. And if the Celtics can knock them down another peg and go down 3-1. I mean, that happened to the Warriors where they lost up 3-1 to the Cavs. Like, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to upset the Celtics after being down 3-1. I think it goes to the Celtics, and my new MVP is, I don't know, like there's so many people in the Celtics that could get it with, Brown playing ridiculous, Tatum finding his way, Al Horford being that glue, and just doing the little things. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't see, like, it's hard to, unless Steph can come out and be Superman and put on a cape, I don't know. Like, I don't see him winning it. Like, that's the scary thing about the NBA and how it plays itself out.
Yeah, Game 4 might decide the series. And Steph, in the last minute of that game last night, kind of got rolled up on. He got hurt. He was limping. If he's not 100%, for Golden State. That depth of the Celtics is really carrying them right now. So props to them. That's kind of a fun team to root for.
Yeah, because when you look at, Steph Curry, now he's putting up the numbers, 31 points. He's putting up the numbers. But the problem is Jason Tatum's giving you points. Marcus Smart is giving you points over 20, and Brown is giving you points over 20. So when you got 3 guys give you over 20, the MVP conversation goes to look at, well, what are the intangibles? Like, Smart is a great defender. He really, like, he matched the pettiness of Draymond Green. Like, he's willing to be in the middle of these fights. He's willing to get into it with them. He's willing to do that dirty work to keep Tatum and Brown safe from the demon and beast that is Draymond Green. So, because Smart has had his way back in the day of doing stuff, and now he's kind of calmed it down where he's not getting in as much trouble for the overacting and embellishment and all the crazy stuff he does. But yeah, that MVP now, it's in the green room. It's on that green side. But it's 3 guys that can get it. Like, it's 3 guys fighting for that right now with Smart, Brown, and Tatum. Tatum, if he can pull off a couple more 27-point games, it goes to Tatum. Tatum becomes your MVP. Now, if Brown is the guy, upper 20s, and he's a two-way guy with the defense, might be Brown. If Smart's giving you 5 to 6 games over 20, he's the true, he's the Andre Iguodala. Like, he would rob Jason Tatum the way Iguodala robbed Steph Curry, because he's going to give you defense, and they're going to say, man, look at what he did. Look at how he slowed down Klay Thompson on this play. Look how he slowed down Steph Curry, because they're going to look at, like, Steph Curry on defense. I think they were like 10 for 13 when Steph Curry was the main defender at one point in the game. So that's going to happen. They're going to like, oh, man, when Marcus Smart's the main defender, they're 1 for 17. He's the MVP. But that's where it goes for that. Well, that'll do it for the Ron Johnson Show today. I want to thank you guys for watching on YouTube. I want to thank those that have subscribed. Seriously, we truly, truly love the support. Continue to spread the word. Help us grow. Tell your friend, tell your mom, tell your brother. Hey, we got some great interviews, some great coaches. Go back and listen. We had Adam Thielen on. Come on now. It's Adam Thielen. But we're going to grow as the season goes. We're going to have some fun. Things are going to get better. We're going to introduce some new stuff. Stick around for some of our round table stuff possibly coming in the near future. We're going to have some cool things going with the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network, as well as the Ron Johnson Show. But that'll do it for me, my producer, Sam Ekstrom, and Kenni Burns, our guest. Thank you and have a great day.